All right, we're gonna give this a shot. Allergies are kicking my ass right now. All the flowers just started flowering here in Germany. It's pretty. The weather's getting a little bit better, but man, allergies are beating me up. So we'll see how long I last. We got Fisherman's Friends. Got some coffee. Hey, B2C Retro. If you're watching this on YouTube, welcome. We just broke 2,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is pretty cool. Thank you very much for clicking subscribe. If you have not clicked subscribe yet, maybe give it a thought. Oh, man. I feel bleh. So we'll see. I don't get sick very often, but I do apparently have allergies. So that's gonna be that. And it sucks because I've got garden work that I really want to get done, so. Man, I'm trying to use Squarespace's dashboard to look at analytics right now. But wouldn't you know it, it's not what do you call it? Responsive, reactive. It's not any of those things. Like if I don't move it over to my main monitor and just manually stretch it out, it's not going to give me the information I'm looking for. Kinda poor design. My throat is really sore after sleeping last night. Again, just allergies, but still. So I'll see how long I wind up doing this today. I'm gonna turn off main display capture for a sec. So I can move this over here and actually expand it and look. It's okay, I can most. Oh man, what a janky website. I guess I could just look on my phone. Squarespace, if you're out there, you gotta up your game a bit, folks. And I know a lot of you people are probably thinking, why do we use it? Why don't we like build our own website or whatever? It's because we've got our hands full. Hey, Chat Solo. Whitechapel. The Friends and Family infographic was great. Yeah, Ali put that together. We've got a bunch of other data as well. It's really nice to see. Oh, speaking of which, while I'm thinking about that other data. Let me go ahead and open. Let me find something real quick. Open this one, open another one. Yeah, sorry guys. Today's gonna be a very chill stream, I think. If I even make it the full 3 hours. Let me go to NPC. Let me look at these grave robbers. Hey, Trinity. They're in the 6 to 8 range. Level 6 to 8. Let me find some other NPCs on my other screen. Data. Let's find some low-level guys. Some naturally low-level guys. Well, look at these famished zombies that Nick's got. I think that'll be a good example. What are they rocking drop-wise? Cool. Ollie's data is pretty good because it allows us to also pretty quickly spot certain bugs. Up that a little bit. Cool. Cool. All right, bug fixed. They were in the data. Is interesting. They were dropping. We could see they're dropping a little too much money. So that was nice to be able to just spot. Okay. Let's hit play. So how's everybody doing? Zukin, if you're out there, I really like how this is coming together. I like the books. Rev said, no clue. I'll tell you after another cup of coffee. Well, right on. Justin's expecting snow tomorrow. Oh, man. I'm sorry. I am hoping that we're done with that. Wonder how the character changes have impacted some of these other guys. Wonder what they look like. Oh, hey, Mustachio. Oh, man. His hair color changed. It used to be different. Gonna be 0 Celsius for the high. I forget what 0 winds up being Fahrenheit. I'm sure it's a fairly elementary school thing. So I'll wait for one of you to correct me in the chat. Trinity said, I saw in the newsletter that there's a new character controller. Any big changes with movement? Not that I could tell. I think it's primarily addressing past bugs. $32. Okay. Yeah, it's been between like -1 and -2 at night here, and at the moment, where are we at? I guess I could just look. No, it's actually 6. 6. But to your question, Chinny D, I haven't noticed anything horrible. Whatever Ollie did to fix the frame rates in the editor, because it was pretty bad like a week ago, 2 weeks ago, and then it was really good, and now it's not great again. So there's a new bug. Actually, I need to see if we've got an issue written up for this. Yep. So let me check Slack really quick. Let's go to bug discussion. Cool. I didn't see a response there, so let me write up a bug really fast. Justin said he loves cold weather after so many years in hot climates. I always thought that I'd not be able to live in like cold weather. I don't know why. I mean, when I was a kid in Germany, it was cold, right? So just growing up, when I had opportunities to potentially like move up north or work in Seattle or something like that, I was like, weather. Nope, can't do it. I'm a warm weather southern lad. And I don't know, man, living in Germany and Sweden and Germany again, it really hasn't bothered me much. I just layer up. Yeah, Justin, I lived in Alabama when I was in high school, and I didn't have AC in my car either. But Alabama, for as hot and muggy as it was, I don't think it's anywhere near that Phoenix heat. So, all right, issues. Let me see. NPC. I'm going to check open issues really quick. That's not very helpful. Hey, Castflux. Go-tos. Various issues with new SOI changes that Nick put in. Squiggly lines, thank you very much for 19 months of wonderful support. I hope you are doing well. I'm gonna try to keep the music up for you guys, just because, like I said, probably be talking a bit less this stream. Wow. Hey, Dargith. Actually, I took some CBD oil before, about 20 minutes before we kicked this thing off, and that's helped. Believe it or not, it's helped reduce the itchiness and some of the feeling. So, good job, CBD. Okay, mob starting to path where I gated in from. Mob rendering flicker when gating. Okay. Mob's just not rendering at all, but killing. Bind not working properly all the time. Gate not being reliable. Okay. None of these include the issue that I'm seeing. So I'm going to go ahead and just write up a new issue. NPCs freezing in place. And I'm just going to basically copy pasta my crap out of Slack here. Unity games have such nice lighting these days. Yeah, I mean, when people talk about the badass Unreal lighting, I think they're, you know, it's a lot more probably complex and a lot more procedural or incidental, with like, you know, lights bouncing off of objects onto other objects and all sorts of other stuff. So for what we've been doing, especially given that most of this has just been like a temporary lighting pass, Pattis has just been kind of coming in and tossing in some stuff for us so that we've got at least some visibility at night. You know, it looks good, and then we'll just continue to improve upon it. Hey, Brown Butcher. All right, so excuse me while I ignore you for a minute while I pull this data into a new issue. Excuse me, and I have checked, and it's only in Night Harbor. So, mobs with wander and volume. Mobs with patrol routes are stopping at their go-to points. Hailing them will get them, will unfreeze them, until they hit the next go-to. Wander in volume. Mobs are also freezing. It's not all of them, so I'm thinking maybe only ones that have successfully hit a pause percent in their wander command. Let me copy these images. Copy image. Paste. Copy image. Paste. Copy image, paste. Yeah, and we don't have, at the moment, we don't have the ability to see what, like, what's the NPC's next command. We need to get that into our stats command. Newbie yards slowly started freezing after repop, but that's actually reload. But mobs can aggro and follow normally from their frozen state. This doesn't appear to be happening in Wormsbane or Shaded Dunes. Ollie. Label. NPC behavior, I guess. And restarted. Hey, MMO Pug. Hey, Shifty. And Beer Chug. What is the dual option in your stream store? Oh, that's back when I was playing a lot of like EQ and P99 and stuff, and oh, and people wanted to kill me in game. Hey, Bricks. Am I doing all right? I've got really bad allergies today, so I'm just kind of powering through it. How are you doing? Yeah, I put a bit of effort into the whole stream channel points things when I first started streaming a couple years ago, and haven't really put much effort into it since then. $50K to name a street in Night Harbor? That seems way too cheap. Well, that was a nice bit of damage that I took. 562 points of damage. That's good. Hey, Mehmet Rice. Your allergies are killing you too. Yeah, it's not fun. You just feel kind of itchy and garbagey. So we'll see. We'll see if I power through this. I figured folks would be excited because of the update and stuff. So I didn't want to skip out today. I would have felt pretty guilty had I skipped. But I really wanted to. Let's be real. Street names would be nice. Go down Knights Crossing, hang a left onto Valor Boulevard until you see the big church. Brown Butcher, I just mentioned I don't know if I only mentioned that on on stream or if I mentioned that in Slack as well, but I was just thinking the same thing. And the reason for that is there's this really wonderful like lane going up from this sort of ground level up into Sage Side, and that's where Wincog's Curious Goods shop is, and I keep wanting to refer to that lane by a name, and so it's like, you know what, street names would be really cool. And I don't think that existed in a lot of other games. Did it? Other MMOs, did they have like street names and stuff? Forgive my frame rate today. I restarted my machine, but I just think something's up at the moment. All right, so I think if he doesn't have a dialogue, then it's not going to... So they've been sticking at go-to points. Hey, Booty. Never seen a street name in an MMO. I think it's such a good idea. Street names may help your effort to reduce the amount of signs. That's very true, BDC Retro. I was thinking that might be... And it'd be nice to see the signs, right? Like... So, let's do that. But not for 50,000 cookie points. What? He finally went. Let me see something then. Enable the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of records to pop in here. Street names never made sense since cities were never that big. However, Night Harbor is looking like a proper city where street names and alleys would make sense. You know what? I agree. I agree with you guys. I agreed with you guys even last week. So now we just need to do it. Turnip Gin, thank you for 32 months. How are you doing? Matt Rice said, I don't think I've ever seen street names in other MMOs. Usually just street signs with waypoints telling you what is each direction. Yeah. Alright, so let me go look at this guy's path and see if we can figure out what's going on. So he is clearly at a go-to. And he's at another one right now. And he is not spawn 553, he is spawn 476. So let's go find that really quick. 476. He is here. Be cool to have special events in on different streets, like a major avenue could have a religious procession go down it every morning on their in-game religious day of observation or whatever, or there could be a parade down one lane on the prince's birthday or whatever. Those are good ideas, Dargith. All right, so let's just double check, make sure there's not some weird... Nope, there have been no pauses added to these. They're strictly go-tos. So let's observe this guy for a little bit. Let's see if he eventually figures it out. Talifora, thank you for the follow. That sneeze is not coming. Am I taking any allergy medication? Usually Allegra or Claritin does the job for me. I get really bad seasonal allergies in the spring. No, I'm not taking any yet this year. I forget what I took last year. Might have been Claritin. We don't have quite the range of options in Germany that we have in the US. Germans aren't quite as quick to just take medicine. Okay, so he hasn't started moving. What? And now he has. That was a very long just kind of pause. All right, but that's data. That's data that we can add into our ticket that we just wrote. I need to read Nick's write-up on writing tickets. See if I'm missing anything. It's been a while since I looked at it. He sent it out the other day. I need to check it out. So what we're going to do is we're going to run to the newbie yard and we're going to see if any of them wind up freezing and then eventually moving again. So I can update my ticket. So have you guys seen the response to the to the stress test inquiry that we did in our Discord? Yep. Let's see. Let me take a look. 769 yes checks, 105 maybes, and 17 no's. That's pretty tight. Alright, so we've got our friend the patrolman is just kind of paused here as well. Let's keep an eye on these guys. Alright, booty clamp will be 770 then. That's tight. Yeah, I saw Nathan made a video about it, churro dude. Super Bits and Bob also made a video about it. That's very cool as well. All right, let's sit here. Let's sit here and watch these guys and see if they move again. Whoa, man. While we watch, a question about spawns, Chaos Flux asks. Okay. Fire away. Are you going to have placeholders and rare spawns tied together? Rare spawns with placeholders. Yep, we have them in. We have quite a few. Well, I mean, relatively speaking. Internally relative to, you know what I mean? We've got them in. Yeah, we've got them in Wormsbane. Most camps will have them. We got some very, very rare spawns as well. Oh, there they go. They're moving again. Let me update the ticket. Let me update the ticket. You're thinking about certain placeholders where you have to find like the one in South Karana? Yeah, we've got one or two examples of that in as well. One of our friends and family players got to level 44. Belfaster said that's impressive. Yes. Hey, Pattis. Where is that ticket I just wrote up? Here. If you wait long enough, the NPCs will move again momentarily and then freeze at the next go to. I guess we could measure that. Want to do that? Let me get my stopwatch. I'm running on my clock. We'll do it old school. What's the max mob level in M&M currently? Probably 60. Don't know if the level 44 person just grinded low level mobs for 3. No, there's plenty of I mean, we've got some pretty big gaps at the moment, but we've got some progressively higher level stuff. But I'm fairly certain whatever they did was a you know, a legit grind. Booty Clap said, damn, those are some sexy fire beetles. The fire elemental video recently was good too. Well, thank you. Let me finish bringing up the clock before these guys unpause. Stopwatch. So let's sit here and wait for this dude to start moving and then freeze again. Chaos Flux, I think, yeah, I think that's accurate. Mine is gray. I don't know that we have gray. What's going on, YouTube? Are you checking to see if I'm still here? I'm still here. Waiting for this fire beetle to move. And this is some early morning excitement for you guys. I don't know that we need this data. I mean, it should be fairly obvious when whomever takes a look, probably Ollie. I'm waiting for him to move. Give you guys a better view. Oh man, the weather. BDC Retro said, the case of the perma-rooted fire beetle sounds like a job for the mystery gang. We go pull his head off and Ollie appears. He would have gotten away with it too. I'm surprised there's not... I mean, this is quite a pause. I'm surprised there's not more sort of variation in the movement. Nope, I see a snake back there moving. You mean, Chaos Flex, you mean Project M? The play as a monster? Okay, there's a beetle moving over there. It was a passion project. It's funny because now that I've heard multiple interviews, I can't remember exactly who's getting the credit for it. It was, I thought it was something that Hobart put in. And it wasn't in for very long. I don't think it was in for very long. And if I remember correctly, it put you in a random low-level NPC in a random zone, so you couldn't necessarily coordinate. But I think if you died enough, you could wind up then as like a group. If everybody's like, hey, let's meet in Nectulos or something like that. Then you could coordinate. I've heard a lot of crazy stories over the years of like people saying, oh, and I remember I turned into a blah 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 and was destroying everything, and I thought it was only like low level mobs, to be honest. And it was a pretty light implementation. It wasn't a you know, there wasn't progression for the monster or anything like that. It was a very simple implementation. And that was that. I thought maybe there were some bugs that were appearing with it, and maybe a minor amount of griefing, but I think it was mainly it's probably addressed in one of the interviews that I did. So if you look for Todd's interviews, I think he mentioned it. And I could have sworn it was just that it wasn't fully implemented and there were some bugs, and so it got pulled out and just didn't go back in. But it's on the tail end of our feature list since the very beginning. There's been a desire to do something like that. And so, yeah. I guess this guy's never moving again. I swear I saw something moving over here, though. What? Now they're all moving. So it may be sphere of influence related. Okay, if you wait long enough, I'm gonna just change that now. Initially, I thought that if you wait long enough, the NPCs start moving again. But by backing away from the mobs, and I'll clarify that one, this appeared to happen to the patrolmen in H, but in the newbie yard, they didn't start. Yeah, they're playing red light, green light with me. But in the newbie yard, they didn't start moving again. But by backing away from the mobs, I was able to get them to start wandering again, moving forward, froze them after a few seconds. Comment. All right, so we got our dudes. They're not moving. Red light. Ethan, how's it going? If this looks like progress in here, you haven't seen anything yet. There's a lot going on. All right, so back away. Now, I think this is maybe due to the sphere of influence changes. So the question becomes, when do I'm probably going to need to get out of the SOI to affect some sort of change. Unless that was just a coincidence and that was a timing thing. And this guy over here is walking again. All right, so we've got these Ashira walking. Try moving towards the wandering Ashira. Yeah, good point. It stopped right about here. Yeah, I don't know if it's causation or correlation here. Let's see if we get roughly in the same range. Nope. See? Are you able to see what they're trying to do in Unity? Maybe that can help diagnose. Nothing that personally I would have any understanding of. I've got the feeling it's better suited for some sort of debugging that Ali does on the server side. So Shifty, I've looked, and if I zone to Shaded Dunes, none of the mobs were doing this last time I was in Shaded Dunes. I noticed this yesterday or over the weekend. Yesterday, maybe. Bullet Catcher said, read all the data Eminem shared in their recent update. Very interesting. Is there more data you can share? How many players played in FNF? Do you feel the data is what you're aiming for? Any adjustments to leveling times, expectations, XP gains, loot, etc.? There have been a lot of like mini adjustments as we are going, especially during the initial friends and family sort of surge. How many people are in friends and family? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know offhand. Let's see what else. But yeah, a lot of those adjustments have just been made as we're going. And keep in mind, friends and family is just our initial data point to try to get things in the ballpark so that stuff feels okay for later testing. But we're going to be testing all the way until we launch, and we don't have an actual launch date in sight. So without a doubt, we'll be tweaking and testing and stuff. It seems like there's less density of mobs in the city compared to this area. This area is... One, you're seeing a bit further into the distance here. It's a little bit bigger. Hey, Aaron Gunn. Good morning. Thank you for 16 months. Is there a level gap between the mobs near the city and where you're at now? Not really. A lot of this is a carryover of sort of newbie yard leveling until you progress out a little bit further. Shreddy Krueger and Dargith answered that pretty well. The game is primarily group play focused. You're welcome. Thanks, Dargith. Hey, Patrolman. Hey, Large Rat. Yeah, Brown Butcher. We are fortunate in that we've got lots of loading screen art because Goblin knocks out a lot of concepts. So that's cool. Music is very nice. Yeah, Robert's done an incredible job with it. So... I think it may have just been a coincidence earlier. Hey, Temporus. Yeah, here, let me get that playlist up. Yeah, do I have a command for the music? Is the music we're hearing now the music for in-game? It is. It is. Yeah, I thought I made one eventually. What's the bug I'm working on? Something is causing the mobs to freeze, and if they're see that guy back there started moving again. That scout? Is that a scout? Yeah. So moving. Here, let me. Speaking of music. My poor dog's stomach is growling so loud, and he didn't want to eat breakfast. And then I put it in the fridge, and then he didn't want to eat lunch. Let me know if you can hear that. BDC Retro asks, Sean, working through the definition of raid versus multi-group content, I think mobs like Nagafin, Trachanon, and EQ as multi-group, but pop content is raids. Is that similar to how you folks see it? I'll be honest. At the end of the day, there's not going to be a good definition. The primary takeaway, and the reason why we're like kind of playing around with words and doing sort of like these weird word games with it is, I've expressed the intent, and at some point we may find that intent is invalid, or that the entirety of the team's like no or whatever, and we have the discussion again. I've expressed the intent since very early in the project that I think it would be healthy for us to not bifurcate the game into a very different layer of content at the end game. That is where all of the coolest drops are and all of the coolest content is, and where everybody wants to be, so that the first, however many levels or hours or whatever of the game don't become the shit that you just try to burn through to play the real game. That's the main thing. And so whether a multi-group boss is, or sorry, a multi-group target is a simpler encounter, like just a open world dragon or a roaming sort of boss, or if it's a more complex encounter, like a more sophisticated sort of Pop Era Plus scripted event or whatever, I don't know that it matters. That part of the definition matters. The thing that matters is whether or not we start creating a game on top of a game that is highly incentivized, that then becomes kind of the thing that everybody wants to try to power through to be able to see. And maybe it's a bullshit goal. Maybe that intent is unnecessary or misplaced or whatever. We'll figure that out. But the idea of essentially just negating the value of the journey by making the emphasis on the definition, then that's the concern. Let's see. Shifty said that scarab in front of you slowed down when it got to the spot it's standing in now. Was an immediate stop. Yeah, I wasn't paying good enough attention. green one on my left. This one or? Behind the rock, okay. While it may not be applicable here, I'd love to see an MMO that manages to make the end game, the whole game, in a way that works. Temporus, wouldn't that be... Wouldn't you... Yeah, this is weird. Now they're moving again. But is it a coincidence? Is there a node there? Maybe it's taken a long time to pass between nodes. Let me see if there's anything going on with the nav mesh. But a game that's maybe more of like a lobby-based raid game, or a game that's got more emphasis on, you know, smaller raid sizes and auto grouping for those raids and all of that type of stuff. Wouldn't that be... let me see what you sent me first. Flux, there is no release date. Nope. There's not even a date to the end of the proof of concept. Where did you send it to me first? Slack messages about 28 hours ago. Watchman stuck until I hail continues. Stable tables, thank you for the prime. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so I wrote that up. Let me actually grab that bug in the Kanban channel and update update the bug discussion channel with it. And you can add a link to the video or whatever as part of that. I think I just wrote it up. Because I mentioned you in the original here's issue for it. Any thoughts or plans on zones or encounters specifically designed as crawls instead of camps? Even for multi-group content, I'd consider playing a Sky raid crawl type. I think there'll be some crawls that just happen by nature of the both the design of the zone and then the degree to which it is or isn't populated. Because, I mean, I've been in a couple of zones that were fairly unpopulated and, like, gone through them and it's felt more like a crawl, right? Like going through Nurga or Droga, maybe. If nobody's in somewhere deeper in a dungeon, and you're with a group where it's an actual, you know, a little bit of a challenge for a group. And getting to a specific camp winds up feeling a bit like a crawl. Not sure how to make something more crawly without just putting things on a super long repop timer outside of instancing. Yeah, I mean, it's part of why we went that route. You know, you could do some things like try to force a bit of behavior by having certain patrols and blah blah blah. But it's yeah, it's the goal isn't to dissuade camping in our game. Now, if we want to have certain areas that are just, you know, essentially going to move you along, or if we wanted to make a zone where we played with it, sure, but it's going to be the exception and not the rule. As I look around, I don't necessarily see anything that's a obvious indicator. We've got Ollie's white lines here. Let me see if we can find somewhere where they start moving again. Frankenbean said, "Hi Sean, we just had a pretty fun GM event on P99 for April Fool's Day. What do you think about GM involvement like that for the player base, even just for fun? EQs to give out titles and such sometimes." It's actually fairly high on our list of things we desire to be able to pull off. All right, so these guys just started moving. And if we look, they're distributed across more than one of these SOI boxes. I honestly can't see anything that makes this different than anywhere else. So Frankenbeans, the goal is to get to a point where one of the reasons why we want to have actual dedicated customer service staff that are dedicated to specific servers over time, so that we could get that feel back. I mean, if we're doing, you know, very well, then the goal would be to not only be able to provide customer service, but to have people that are regularly running those types of events and adding a little bit to the dynamic on a given server. Like doing that type of thing within a live service feels like a worthwhile role. John said, "I may have missed it. What does the bug actually say? Stuck, or just random pauses when pathing?" Patrol routes are stuck until you hail them. If you hail them, they start moving again. And if you, assuming they've got a hail dialogue on them, it looks like. And earlier we thought one just started moving on its own after waiting quite a while. And then these guys have been stopping. And then we went and we were waiting to see if they just start going on their own. And trying to figure out, okay, so I'm assuming right there is when he hit his percentage, because everything in here is got a percentage chance to pause for like a second, and then it'll typically pick another direction and start going again. So I'm assuming it finally hit the pause roll. But then the assumption is that it's just pausing for a very long time. Let's... Now, it could be that something changed with... let's close this. Disable, enable. It could be something changed with the pause values, but I doubt that. But we can double check that really fast, and that would still not make any sense for the patrols. Yeah, I'm just gonna turn the pause off for testing and see what happens. And now keep in mind, this isn't happening outside of Night Harbor. But one thing that is different from Night Harbor from the other zones is Night Harbor's got a shitload of entities in it. Lots of entities. So that could be a thing. So alright, if we find this volume here, and we'll just make this pause chance 0. Save. Reload zone. Frankenbeans, did that answer your question? Could patrolmen be hitting their pause percentage over and over? There is no pause percentage on them. Awesome. Thanks, Frankenbeans. Yeah, I mean, when I was in customer service originally, I was like spouting on and on about the idea that one day it would be a viable job to be a paid actor in an MMO. And that's actually, there's like articles on that shit now. Let's see, not necessarily very, they're kind of dystopian sounding, but let's see. Like this is not the goal. Yeah, like somebody was quoted as saying that people could become. It was very poorly worded. That people with low income could be NPCs in virtual worlds, and so everybody ran with that quote. Another way to do it is just to make it a worthwhile job that pays a fair amount. Maybe that'll sound a little less dystopian when you're quoted about it. Alright, so we're looking here now to see... Hey, Norden. Alright, let's see what happens. Because in theory, these guys should start freezing and then not move again. Yes? But now these guys will never freeze. In theory. And that's weird. This is the thing that we saw before. Was in getting close to some of them, it fired them. It got them going again. Patrol people freeze at their go-to points each time, and there's no reason why that should be happening. Whereas this had a. Can I check against the nav mesh view again? Sure. I don't. Well, but I've moved around since then, so... So I'm here, and that guy's frozen. So Ashura Scout, if I come this way, I should go into a different square. See? And if we go... Alright, so... Spawn ID 2. So... The scarab spawned on ID 2, which would be the volume that we turned the pause chance off on. Now, other stuff isn't running into this. And if we go back and we put this back where it was, 0.5. Hey, Gulo Gulo. Pause duration should be in milliseconds. And originally I was wondering if something had changed there. Hello, Ishiwatari. Thank you. You guys just saw it, right? You didn't hear it? The sneeze? No audio. Okay, good. Try not to be rude. All right. Oh man. Crap. Yes, I don't know. We've got it written up. It is over on Ollie's plate. Now yawning, what have I done? Yeah, I'm sorry. It's really early for a lot of you guys. That's probably not nice. Excuse me. All right, so that is that. And like I said earlier, I don't know what changed again. We went from frame rate was pretty choppy in editor to Ollie made some fix, and then it was no longer a problem in editor, back to choppy. Been a while since you tuned in, but you don't think you've seen many robes in the past. Stretching doesn't look bad at all on the legs from what you can see. Yeah, we've been doing a lot of updates on the. Did he move? He's just screwing with me now. Been doing a lot of updates on the character art. So disable. Oops. Been getting new skin textures in, new face textures. Pulled in some of the old textures into the new system. We have an all new system. So like this, the leather hip thing that I'm wearing is an old texture. This robe is a new texture. It's one of like 3 or 4 that we've got. Got new books. Let's see. Backpacks are now using the new system, so we've got multicolors on different things and bedrolls and stuff. This guy's wearing one of 3 or 4 plate armor sets. Shifty said, if you hailed a stuck patrolman, they'll unstick if they have a response. Could be volume related anyway. Pushing text creates a volume, right? I don't know that it creates a volume. I know that I don't know that. I assume that it's an update of some sort. So but that didn't get him moving again. So I don't know. I just don't know. It's only certain ones. We'll go over here. There'll probably be Eastham Knight just standing around. Here's a watchman. But he's got a base, so he's got a base dialogue, whereas the patrolman doesn't. Like if I put here, I'll just put a default dialogue on the patrolman. Patrolman. Okay. Let's see if a patrolman Hey, Coach Renos. Quest. Nothing there. All right. Hey, you. Play nice. And see that guy pause for a second at that go to and then start moving again. So first was the first person to mention this. So I think he saw that over the weekends. And then I started looking into it and found that it went further than just the patrols. All right. Cool. So he's got this now. Let's reload the zone and we'll go see if the guy that was stuck before starts moving. Smilodontist. Yeah, we're quickly addressing the nudity problem here in town. Now, the go-to issue has to resolve itself on its own over time. Otherwise, I don't think these guys would ever make it anywhere. Right? Because that's a go-to. So we'll see if this guy eventually starts moving. But now let's go find a patrolman. Maybe it's an unusually long pause. It's possible, but there's no pause programmed in, right? There's no pause scheduled. It's strictly a go-to. Watch, we're gonna, I'm sitting here playing with this for like an hour and a half, keeping us entertained. Ollie will just, freaking look at the code and go, oh, I see the problem, and it'll be fixed. But hey, it's keeping us entertained. See? Now that he's got a dialogue, it kind of like it jump starts him. He wakes back up. Hey, Zube. Yeah, Shifty. That's my thought on a lot of this stuff. Is the goal is to if I can save Ali any little bit of time by doing a little bit of extra looking, then awesome. But yeah, so if you haven't seen the update, definitely check out the update this month. Here, I'm gonna bring it up just in case you haven't seen it. We'll look at it real quick. I gotta get eyebrows on that guy. I did not even notice the lack of eyebrows, VGFX. I just thought they were really subtle. If this guy had like big eyebrows or whatever, I think he might look a little weird. I think a no eyebrow option is warranted. You know what I mean? I couldn't imagine this guy with like some Bert and Ernie eyebrows popping up all of a sudden. He's got very subtle eyebrows. Seth said, new email from you guys is exciting. Upcoming stress test. Yeah. So this is this month's update. Be sure to check your email. Click through. I'm not gonna read it all here, but I did want to show some of the options that we've got. The humans all look kind of evil. Yeah, we'll get there. Maybe they are. What? Look, he just went on his own. And they kind of did it at the same time, right? Yeah. Congrats on the nipples, by the way. Thank you, Brown Butcher. I don't even think I was the only one asking about nipples. I feel like it was kind of a shared gift. Pretty sure Nick was asking about them too. My crowning accomplishment on a project. Yeah, had I not asked, who knows? Though, like I said, I don't think I was even the first person to ask. That was gonna, yeah, it was gonna be a stretch goal on our crowdfunding campaign, but we got too excited. Choclar, there's always that one person that just takes it too far. The too far slider. Whoa, hey! Pattis got us with the trap. Dude, my allergies are killing me so bad. I've spent hours writing up quests and stuff, and a lot of it involves this guy's name, and I can't even think of the name right now. You guys, what are you talking? Ear hair and nose hair sliders, back hair? You know what? As long as you're keeping yourselves entertained in chat, I think it's wonderful. We need to feel our age. Yeah, as your character gets older, you lose all your hair on your head, and it just goes to your ears, in your back, in your nose. I know that feeling very well. Excuse me. What? They got clothes on. Look at them. This guy's eventually going to be a goblin. Neuralbus here will be a goblin. I'm going to find this trap door. And I found it. That was easy enough. You cut your own hair on stream yesterday to 2 viewers? Was it really you, or was it live action or animated? Pattis is obviously preparing for the stress test. You cut your own hair live. That's pretty bold. I think he's probably collaborating with Ollie. Ollie's probably... There he goes. Ollie's probably like, alright, we need trapdoors. If we have too many people log into the server, we're just going to drop... We're going to be dropping people right out of the world. There's just going to be a big pool party down here. Is there a stuck command in this place yet? Yeah, we've got one for testing. Log in, fall through world. It'll be just like the Kunark launch. It's looking so good, by the way. Well, thank you very much, Shaklar. Were the editors used in EQ in 3D space like this or 2D? We didn't have an editor like this in EQ. We ran around in the actual game. And so if I wanted to place a mob here or something, I would just go in game and then I would /loc. And I'd usually have my log on. And so if I was populating a zone, I'd /log to turn my log on. And then I had my loc button. And I'd go, like maybe I'd even say something like guard. And then I'd go loc. 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 And then I would do something like elite guard loc, and that would just be in a text file, which I would then grab. I would pull it into Excel, and then I would take I would copy it from Excel into the database, and that's how it worked. Is loc a feature that players will have access to? Nope. You can get some sense heading. Which that kind of development could have been recorded. So fascinating. Yeah, it would have been something. There's a lot more like yelling and stress and all sorts of stuff going on back then that probably would have been not good to For placing NPCs in game directly via DB, how would you handle NPCs that path moved? They would either go on a path that we had set. So if you the way I remember at least, and maybe I'm incorrect on this, but if you looked at an area like this, it would have been using an old racing game pathing system where it's called, we had P points, pathing points, where there would be 2 points, sort of pop, 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 just rows of 2 points going, and that would define the area within, like, essentially its path. And then there is a certain, I think there's a certain threshold outside of that it could go, but then it would try to come back onto that path, right? So we're defining the paths that it would run down. And so you could pull it into this cubby up here, and if you died, then it would go back onto the path, right? And then I remember there being like these routes. So it's like 1, 2, 3. So you could patrol a route, and it would just kind of go along the route, or you could just go in and actually define the way we do in here as well. You could define a go-to spot, which would just be another loc in that go-to command, similar to how we do it now. We just happen to have we have the ability to do that visually in editor. So it's a very similar system. VGFX said, first MMO I worked on didn't even have tools to test locally on my machine. Had to send it to someone to put it in, and then a few days later I could test. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that would be the same for us. Like if art was being done, it would have needed to be like exported, baked out, pulled into the game. And I don't even know how it would have been pulled into the game, like part of some sort of a build process. But the idea that we can just easily grab an asset that you've modified, pull latest, repop zone, whatever, makes things a lot faster. But if you see here, I mean, we've got these go-tos. And no, that's not the one. Definitely still some quirks in like selecting this stuff or whatever. All right. So if we look here, anyway, 143. I could do it faster by. Actually, I don't think I can do that. Can I? Nope. Zone spawn 143. And then I can just look at the data here. It's nice because, you know, when little bugs like that were clicking off of it, deselects it. That's a little quality of life thing we can improve, but oh my gosh. I mean, in theory, I guess I could lock that. Yeah, so were there any EQ devs that disliked the game? I mean, designers, I don't think there are any designers that dislike the game. There are designers that dislike the tool set. And, you know, like we complained all the time about how sort of rickety and crappy some things were, right? Like it felt very duct taped and chicken wired together at times. But we loved it. We just complained about it a bunch. There were people on the team that did not like the game for sure. I think over time those folks went to other games. I think there are some folks on the team that didn't like EQ1 that eventually went to EQ2 and to make a different game. And there are definitely people within the company that didn't like EQ. We'd run into it all the time. It was very weird. Hey, Twerk Goddess. Thank you for the follow, Ralos. Aramisk asked, will you be able to make / purchase maps in-game? We've talked about the idea of you being able to purchase simple maps that are essentially, it's just an image. Right, there's no waypoint on it, there's no GPS or anything like that. So we've talked about that, but not in a lot of detail. Our number one product, yeah, we don't like that. Seems odd. I just think a lot of folks, especially given how early it was in the timeline of MMO development, you know, it was so early in MMOs that a lot of folks just looked at it and were like, oh, we could do better, right? Like, and there was a lot of stuff that, and it's not like it's changed. So the discussion earlier about like dungeon crawl versus camping. A lot of people prefer crawl, and at the time when camping was pretty much the thing, you know, people were like, "Hey, this isn't what I want from a dungeon. I want a dungeon crawl experience." And we played around with it, right? So we played around with it in Eldon. WoW eventually had their instance dungeons that were more of a crawl, right? And so that was something people didn't like. Camping, people didn't like. You know, the idea of there being essentially grind. You would see a ton of like articles and stuff in whether it be Gamma Sutra or PC Gamer or whatever. There'd be these articles about how do we get rid of the grind? Can we make an MMO with zero grind?
Morning, sir. Thanks for all you do.
Hey, Nicodemus, thank you very much. Thank you for 18 months. Rella said, I've seen a few of your streams, meant to follow sooner. Very much looking forward to this game. Enjoy watching you work. Oh, thank you. Yeah, guys, just word of warning. My allergies are killing me today. I almost bailed on the stream, but decided not to. But my sinuses are killing me, and I'm kind of just blah. So apologies in advance. Our teleporters are also acting a little weird at the moment. Getting close to the 2-hour mark if I want to take up. Yeah, thank you, Shifty. I'll keep an eye out. I don't have any Benadryl. I'm in Germany and some of the standbys are not... or, you know, they're not available. Where do you think EQ is most successful in promoting crawling? What do I think enabled that? I think we are most successful in promoting crawling in Lost Dungeons. Because I mean, it was your instance to deal with the way you want, and there's no respawn. There are multiple wings, right? Like every dungeon had something like three different wings or areas to go to. I mean, it's super formulaic. I understand, but it included traps and objects that you could interact with and all of that stuff in a way that felt a little bit more individualized. It had different spawns that, you know, could appear at each one of those sort of areas. So I think for just straight crawling, that was the first real sense of it. But in my estimation, it did something that it made something that could be more, that could have been dynamic and was happening anyway. It just sort of systematized it and made it a bit formulaic, right? Because I think I can't tell you an Eldon. Like, I can't tell you an Eldon instance where I went through and was like, oh my gosh, this was really fun, right? And keep in mind, like, I was a big champion of getting that expansion made. But I can sort of picture any number of times where it was like, you know, hey, let's go to the assassin or whatever, and there's that run because nobody's in the zone, and there's that run where you're going down and you're running down to the right, and you're popping through into bedroom, and maybe you've got IVU on and maybe you don't, and then you go through and so it was right, like I've had just so many, because my sense of direction in game is so absolute shit. If you go back and watch any of I don't know if we've got any of the old gameplay VODs where it's like Nick and I, for the most part, like running around in game a ton a couple years ago. But when Nick and I were just like playing P99 a shitload, a while back, you can tell like I'm always lost. I don't care how many times I've been in it.
17-month and first public playtest is around the corner. Time flies.
Hey, Golden Globes, thank you for 17 months. But yeah, but I've had so many fun moments being that dipshit that gets lost, and people are like, "Hey, are you on your way to the camp?" I'm like, I'm sitting here. I've got the map open. I'm panicking. Palms are sweating. I don't want my group to realize I don't know where the hell I'm going. And there's so many of those moments of like running through, but and that's just when it's by myself. When I'm with a group though, and we're just kind of like fighting our way and breaking our way to a camp, to me that's just so much fun relative to playing through an instance in WoW or and like I said, I don't really remember Eldon very much. Yeah, and that's the other thing. Both Sklar and John are mentioning, like optimization. Like, people wind up creating fairly optimal paths. Players will always take the path of least resistance, and that's something that when we talk about incentivization and things like that, there's a lot of discussion about that in relation to all sorts of systems, right? It's, well, how do we incentivize a certain behavior? Well, the incentive, it has to be really overwhelming. And then you've got to balance that overwhelming incentive against like all sorts of other stuff. And so oftentimes, you can get caught in this trap of you're looking for a certain outcome, and then you start going the route of, well, how do we incentivize that outcome? Or, especially if we're trying to put like a positive spin on something that may be considered a constraint or something that people don't like or whatever. And then it quickly becomes like, well, in order to incentivize that behavior, we've got to go so hard that it really throws the original intent out of whack. So... yeah, so BDC Retro said, when you group, you get a 500% experience bonus. Sure, would get people to group, but what else does it break? Yeah. I think the specific coin type for Eldon actually hurt it. It became more of a run fast, get coins, and actually clearing the place for loot, etc. The intent was more for people that... So Eldon provided an opportunity for people to play, 35 to 60 minutes and be able to accomplish something. And they could sit and they could progressively work towards a goal, right? So it was very much the target, and I'm not going to argue that we hit it, but the target was, how do we make it so that if I can only play a couple times a week and I don't have 2 or 3 hours to invest and I want to get in and play some EverQuest, and be able to, run through a thing, and after 5 or 6 of these runs be able to purchase an item that otherwise I'd have to spend an unpredictable amount of time with regards to a camp. Can I get something of value from that? If I remember correctly, that was part of the discussion there. And so imagine you go through an Eldon instance, and at the end of the instance or somewhere in the instance, there's a rare. You kill the rare, and you don't. It's a percentage roll. All right, so then you could run 30 of these and never get the item, or you could run one of them, get the item each time. All right, all right. So then, do we make it a? It's a 20% chance that you're going to get it. But the next time you run, it's a 40% chance. And the next time you run, it's a 60% chance. Right? Well, okay, well, then we're just putting a little bit of randomization on essentially what is a, run fast, get coin scenario. Right? So... Nicodemus said, I enjoyed Eldon. It was good to get in with friends for like an hour or two in my busy life. Yeah, during that period of time, that was a huge topic of discussion, was more and more. And it's funny because it's the same shit that we talk about now, where it's, that was 3 years after launch or something. And so it's like, yeah, people don't have time anymore. The people that were in high school when it came out are now in college, or, people are getting older. They don't have as much time to play. They're not going to play for more than an hour. Xbox Live, right? And so there's a belief that we really needed to get something in to start to account for the fact that people just weren't going to invest the time. And we didn't have metrics. We didn't have a good sense of why people were churning, or where they were churning, or how much time was appropriate amount, that kind of thing. So it's just very seat of the pants, try to figure some shit out. And we thought we were fixing a problem there. Some of your EQ characters are old enough to be out of college and have kids. Yeah, I've got one. On whatever it used to be 7th Hammer. Eldon was okay, but I think those types of systems get added. When those types of systems get added, it needs to be throughout the entire game and not just one small slice. A couple expansions later, they do the same thing, but it uses a different kind of currency that's not compatible. I'd rather have a fully integrated system top to bottom rather than a vertical slice. Yep, well... That is, I mean, that's... It's not an uncommon problem, right? It's part of the live game blues. I'm going to have one more fisherman's friend. Yeah, sorry guys, my voice is... Well... I'll definitely need to explore some sort of, some sort of an allergy medicine. See what options we have. I could have sworn I had something last year. I don't know how well it worked. What's a fisherman's friend? It's just it's like a mentholated throat lozenge kind of thing, Justin. Maybe try not being allergic anymore. I know, right? So, I'll tell you what, guys. Yeah, today I was feeling pretty crappy, so I wasn't sure I was going to stream. I was able to do 2 hours, but I'm just not feeling it. And I don't want to sit here and just like not say anything and be working off screen. So what I'm probably going to do then is wrap up here, take a little break, and then just then get some actual work done behind the scenes, and I will be back Thursday. So, and hopefully I'll sound a little bit better, even if I don't feel better. But I think that's probably the power move. You guys enjoy the rest of your mornings. Cindercroft, BDC Retro, Golden Gloves, thank you. Shifty, thank you for your concern. Mehmet Rice, appreciate it. Eat some pho. Oh man, I wish. Yeah, we do. We've got a place right down the street. Maybe I'll ask Jasmine if she can grab us some on the way home. Casflux, see you. Chaklar, see you again. See you again. I'm so out of it. Yep. Thank you, Chaklar, for the nipple slider idea. It's horrible. BDC Retro, see you, buddy. Later, Justin. Chaz Solo, see you. Tame Nova, bye. UGFX, I'll see you in Slack. That's a really good idea, though, about the soup. All right. I'll ask her. All right, guys. I'm going to click out.